Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the vault, episode 679, Sunday Trustee Training. When a student is ready. And we used to hear the saying that goes with this quote, which is, when a student is ready, the teacher will appear. So we appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listening to replay. This is a episode that is going to be to the trustees. We have a bunch of trustees that always reach out. Bunch of trustees all the time. Hey, Trust Christian, we need to double down on our training. We need to make sure that we got the training correct. So we wanted to do an episode for trustees and say when a student is ready, the teacher appears. Why? Because there's so many trustees that say I want a trusteeship, and what little bit they learn in a short period of time from the vault, or what little bit they learn from the internet, they think that sometimes sometimes they still feel lost. Sometimes they'll say, "Oh, trust Christian in the vault. We need more information than what the vault provided outside of the vault, as far as the stupid information." Because when a student is ready, the teacher appears. Why? Ladies and gentlemen, we're aware at the vault that we have a foolproof system. We sit in a room with billionaires. We had some trustees come in the room recently with us. They were sitting in a room with some other wealthy people. Wealthy people immediately said their structure. Immediately. As soon as Trust Christian walks in the room, we hear wealthy people going over their structure. When you walk in rooms, ladies and gentlemen, where you can be around your peers, it's a learning environment. So we're sitting in a room now with our peers and we're learning. And when the student is ready, the teacher appears. The teacher is a peer. People say, "Oh, I want to be wealthy, Trust Christian in the vault." We can see it, ladies and gentlemen. I want generational wealth. It's a conversation piece. It's like coffee talk. Something you talk about at the coffee shop. It's something you could TikTok. That's all it is. But when you talk about being in a room, when you talk about who's the teacher, we're sitting in the rooms, ladies and gentlemen. And when you are ready, you will continuously invest in your private education. And you'll continuously invest in your private education. And you will continuously invest in your private education. Because your peers are who you're communicating with as your indirect teachers from their mistakes as well as the things that they do correctly. So we sit in the rooms with other families and literally they will tell you their mistakes. Literally, other wealthy families will tell you things that are working out for them. It's really simple. We were sitting in a room once again recently where you ask who's doing what I'm doing so you can learn and do what they're doing and duplicate it, or you can not deviate. It's interesting because most wealthy people is interesting. We were sitting in a room with some wealthy people recently. Wealthy people said, "Oh yeah, you don't want to reinvent the wheel, Trust Christian in the vault." Like, why do middle class and poor people want to reinvent the wheel? It's just crazy. Like, how do you think you're gonna be wealthy? Do creating your own thing. I mean, we sat on the line today actually with a company raising over $20 million. They have it in revenue. They have it in good company structure, and they're asking for another $20 million, and they don't want to use their own money. So we get on the line. We get on with some bankers, and the bankers are like, "Hey, well, have you ever thought about buying the current facility that's open, and us just buying the clientele and rebranding it?" And getting a name out there and doing a play like that. It's interesting to hear, these guys talk that talk. It's always great to hear that. But when the student is ready, teacher appears. When they mention that to the owner or the business owner, said, "I never thought about that, but we're open to it." Right, because they weren't aware that they could, with their style of business, they could actually go out and acquire another company. But when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Appreciate the likes. Always appreciate the subscribers, new subscribers. People hit the like, hit the subscribe. Feel free to type into the chat where you're listening live, listening to replay from. When a student is ready, people are taking notes. We see this across the board. Trustees that come to the workshops with us, trustees that come to the workshops, the ones that are taking notes usually grasp it. They end up getting it. So what happened is so many people think they don't need to keep learning business. First of all, the best of us are always learning business. And just to make everybody aware, Trust Christian and Revolt, we make it a point to listen to billionaires and listen to billionaire books and read billionaire books and see how successful people have done it already. It is once again, success leaves clues. That's what it is. Success leaving clues. Oh man, they in trusteeship. Oh man, they co-mingling together. Not literally, but they mingling together. Where are you at? Are you going making everything else a priority instead of making it a priority to get into private wealth environments? When the student is ready to teach your peer, you're gonna hear, you're gonna say, oh man, I gotta go get in that environment so I can learn. Not just earn, but learn. How you gonna make more money you don't know how to write relationships? When a student is ready to teach your peers. You have to get in front of the right people so you can ask them the question about giving you the money. So many people might be asking the wrong people for the money. So we're coming to the trustees and we're having that conversation. Are you expanding your network? When a student is ready to teach our peers, ladies and gentlemen, if we want to take our businesses to the next level, it's important for us to associate with people that have done it at a higher level so we can see how they manage their time. So many people would make the excuse, I don't know how to manage the time. I don't know how to manage the time. Well, if you don't know how to manage the time, don't you think it's best to connect with someone that knows how to manage time or does manage time or does how to manage tasks, does get things across the goal line consistently, does know how to consistently hit deadlines? Someone that you're aware of. Oh, I don't know someone like that. That's what you invest in. That's what the family estate is investing in, the private education. So the student, when they're ready, they can go get the education on how to actually manage their time properly. When the student is ready, the teacher will for sure appear. Why wouldn't they appear? By default, you're in learning mode. So many people, they living out life and it's like, are you gonna be in learning mode? Or are you in mode of, oh man, life did a number, life is a number, and you just take a number? Well, okay. The ones that want to be in control through trusteeship, when a student is ready, the teacher will appear. People say, oh man, I need to get in trusteeship. Ladies and gentlemen, whether y'all know it or not, we sit in the rooms. If you're not in the rooms, you're a part of the 70% that your wealth's gonna fall off. So as long as you're not in the rooms, your wealth's gonna fall off. Why? Because wealthy people, people in trust, associate with people in trust. You have to invest in your private education so you can make sure that your wealth is perpetuated because you're associating with other families that are into perpetuating their wealth. Whereas you get around people, they just want to brag about being in trust. They dang near want to tell you that they got to trust because they're not private, they're public. When you're private, you're not trying to post on the internet that you're at a private wealth conference. That's how you know you're public. We were sitting around, we see these younger people come into the rooms. Oh man, I'm going to post I'm at a wealth conference. You even see people that supposedly say they're private. And I'm going to post that I'm at a private wealth conference. Yeah. How are you private and you're posting at a private wealth conference? People in the room are private. People in the room are multimillionaires. People in the room are multi-billionaires. You think they want people to take their picture and put it on the internet? It's supposed to be a private wealth conference. Oh, but it loses its appeal in the public. The luster, we need it to be shiny. We need wealth to be shiny, Trust Christian in the Vault. We need it to be shiny. We need everything about wealth to be shiny. We need you to show off that you have 50 million. We need you to show off that you have 100 million. We need you to show off that you have a billion. That's what middle class people want to see. We want to aspire instead of be inspired. Consumers. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. You need wealth to be shiny. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. When you sit in a room in a private wealth conference, you're not taking online videos to post them on social media, on public media. Oh no, Trust Christian Vote, don't say it to me like that. You can't say it like that. I'm an influencer. I'm on the internet. Okay, you don't sit in the rooms we sit in. Some of the rooms, we're surprised that they even let cell phones go up in the air. And then you still got people trying to sit in the audience, trying to record it with their video camera and dang near post it on social media. For what? Everybody that has capital doesn't want to be known. Some people like their privacy and have tons of cash, tons of capital. Don't say it to me like that, Trust Christian Vote. I'm trying to show people that I'm doing better. You gotta show them that you're doing better. You gotta show them you at the private wealth conference, at the big, at the nice hotels. You gotta show it. Isn't it 2025? What you guys wealthy and you want to hide in the wealth? You want to hide? Why do you want to hide? Why do you want to hide? But they say they want to be private. No, no, no. They don't want to be private. They want to have a trust. So they do. They go get a living trust. They want to have a trust. They want to be in the public. That's who you're hearing speak. But when somebody say they're private, people don't even know who they are. Some of them have business. Many of in our sector have lifestyle have it. It's just interesting to see, all the millennials, we're going to come in the room. We're going to do something new and different. No, you're not. You think a family that's had money for 100 years, from 1930 from 1925 to 2025, you think a family that has had money since for 100 years, you think they're gonna let some millennial squander it because they want to have an impact fund? No. Oh man, Trust Christian Vote. You got to invest in the evolution, the technology. The technology. You got to invest in technology for the EVs. You know, when you got families that sit in a room for oil and gas, when you got families in the room sitting there talking about, man, we need to look at some of these oil and gas credits right now. That's what you're sitting in the room with. Families are talking about focusing on getting some credits. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. See, in the public, they gonna let y'all get taxed. In the public, they gonna let these athletes get taxed. Listen to the law. They're looking to pass a new law that says 40% when you get over a million. What's the point of even working, as some people would say in the middle class? Middle class people don't want to go to the upper class because they don't want to pay more in taxes. So what happens when you get to the $1 million threshold and now you have to have 40% taxes on $1 million or up? What kind of lifestyle are you living in? When a student is ready, the teacher appears. You come into the room and you learn how to manage your liabilities. When the student is ready, you associate with the people that understand, oh man, we're making over a million. We got to go ahead and get this problem under control here. It's not we need to get a million. We already got a million. And we're concerned, as they say. When a student is ready, the teacher appears. Their strategies. Many families are using strategies. When a student is ready, the teacher appears. We were thinking about a heavy workload just now, even flash went through our mind. Sometimes where people walk into situations and they have a heavy workload and They're not aware of how to tackle the workload, how to break it down into small size pieces. And it's one thing we're fortunate enough that we've had good mentorship all the way through trusteeship. And one thing we could say is that, if you ever were to ask one of the mentors, they say, how do you eat an elephant? And they tell you one bite at a time. When you're the student, it's one bite at a time. When you're the trustee, it's one bite at a time. We look forward to connecting with new enrollees, new trustees. It was interesting. We got some wisdom recently that told us about doing these episodes. And even this particular episode, ladies and gentlemen, we're just like, okay, well, when a student is ready, the teacher appears. Looks like you're seeking the teacher. When you're seeking the teacher, you're ready. There are many, they say they're ready. They're not ready for the teacher. They're ready to hear their ego that's in their head that says, oh, yeah, I don't need to do what Trust Christian says. I don't need to come in the room with Trust Christian. I don't know if I can hang out with those people. I don't know if I'm going to get the money together. Who knows what they're thinking? It's an ego. It's a false self. It's a lie to yourself about you building and managing your wealth. It tells you not to go into those rooms because somebody told you wearing suit and tie might not be a situation for you. Oh man, ladies and gentlemen, we'll point out we got one of the most successful mentors that will tell you that you don't have to wear a suit and tie. But all he's doing is lying to himself. That's all he's doing. And he's lying to himself when it comes to getting capital in 2025. Because why? First of all, that mentor built an entire business with a suit and tie. Once they retired, they said they made more money as they retired. Well, yeah, you were successful already. People wanted to do business with you despite what you were wearing. But there is a business uniform. When a student is ready, the teacher appears. You understand that there is a uniform. Just like they use the uniform to build a certain level of wealth, that's what it is. It's a uniform. No, no, no. It can't be like that. Trust Christian in the vault. Okay. We look for at the vault trustees, families that actually want to learn, that are going to be proactive in their education, be proactive in their bringing questions to the table. How can you say you're a student and you don't have questions? How can you say you're a student ready and you don't have questions? I don't know what to ask. Well, if you're reading, you actually do have questions. That's one thing we could say. If you're reading, you have conversation. So if you're reading, you have questions. There's things to have a conversation about. What are you reading about in your industry, for your industry? Or were people looking for handouts? And guess what? Many are. They want Social Security. Why wouldn't they want the trust to give them security? Why wouldn't they want the family estate to give them security? They have a job mentality. They don't have a get up and set new goals and create a new dream and a new vision for the family estate. You got to do that. You're first gen. Oh man, I don't know if I want to do all that work. Trust Christian involved. That's what they really be saying. And they say that without saying it. It's through their actions. Why? Because you got to invest in your private education. The information. Whether it's a book, whether it's going to a conference, whether it's consultations, whether it's traveling, meeting other trustees in leisure spots. When a student is ready, the teacher will automatically appear. Have we had hard teachers on our back? Sure. We've had some hard teachers on our back. We associate with Juris Doctorate. Think about it. For all the trustees out there that don't have a legal background, think about this, trustees. Think about you all that listen to the vault and you say, oh yeah, I've been studying the law. Okay. I know about these terms. Okay. Can you stand in front of a lawyer and have a conversation? Yeah, the average person cannot do that. You are above average now. You're a little bit more than just a layman. And since people have these terms that they can have conversations with, these lawyers, these barristers, whatever you want to call them, They're not above you anymore. See, the ruling class speaks legalese. The ruling class. The ruling class understands penal law. The ruling class understands the penal system. The ruling class. Oh, Trust Christian, I can't believe you said that. Well, if you don't know the ruling class language, what language are you speaking? Are you speaking the language of the people from their different dialect? Or are you speaking the ruling class language, the language that rules the people, the language that governs the people? Are you speaking legalese? Trust Christian, they didn't teach us that in public school. I don't know if I'm going to teach my kids that either because it's not a normal language. How is it not? Your bills are in legalese. Every contract you do is in legalese. Let's talk about that again? When a student is ready, the teacher appears. Oh, Trust Christian, if I stop speaking, we don't even want to call it what we could call it. Nevertheless, when you start speaking legalese, you start speaking the form of an entrepreneur and an investor. That's what we were doing. We sit around individuals that speak legalese, that understand legalese, that understand legalese is an actual language. How you going to succeed in this? How you going to succeed in trusteeship if you're not learning legalese? That's where you start. Trusteeship is learning legalese. And guess what? Most people got a job. I don't know why I would need to learn legalese, Trust Christian Vault. Right. But that's contract. Legalese is contract. I don't know if I can have that conversation. That's all it is. Can you stand toe to toe with someone that says they raised $1 billion? I don't know if I can do that, Trust Christian Vault. What am I going to talk about? I haven't got my legalese game conversation down yet. We're really thankful. It wasn't legalese that saved us. We promise you all that. When a student is ready, the teacher appears. It's not the language that saved us. Sure. It's not the language. It's putting in the work consistently. Making that elephant bite-sized pieces. What is... When is the student ready? Or when the student is ready? Oh, Trust Christian, I ain't been studying trusteeship. That's all they tell us. That's what they tell us. Oh man, I can't believe you said that. I don't study. I ain't been studying in 2 to 3 days. Right. Well, now we know where people's education levels at. And it's not a knock, to be honest. It's more of a, people say, oh man, tell me the weakest links, Trust Christian Vote. Tell us the weakest links. What do the weakest links do? Instead of focusing on the best practices. Best practices are we do our best to get up early. We do our best to actually read over our goals as we wake up in the AM. We do our best to do some level of gratitude practice. We do our best to practice writing goals down consistently over throughout the day, reminding ourselves that we've already achieved it. We do our best to plan out the next day for success. That's what we do. We do our best. It's a best practice, ladies and gentlemen. You ask any of the best trustees, oh, Trust Christian Vote, I didn't do the minutes. Y'all want to talk? Let's talk that talk. I didn't do the minutes. I'm in trusteeship. I didn't do the minutes. Instead of doing a daily minute, instead of doing a weekly minute. Oh, Trust Christian, you don't know how hard it is. Well, we can tell you how hard it is. We know how hard it is when you do fall off the wagon. So that's why we do it every day. So we don't have to think about, oh man, did we do something weekly? Because if you skip a few days, if you do a few days, you make it a point to get back on the wagon as soon as possible. So we're excited. We're excited to say, hey, when a student's ready to teach appear, oh man, there's always going to be a new teacher. Many new teachers. Many new teachers. And the question is, are you looking to learn? Are you biased on their skin color? Are you biased on their sex? Are you biased on their nationality? It was interesting recently being at a conference and just studying, debriefing, working hard, focusing. It's like, man, it's so much to learn. But if you focus on what you're supposed to do, that's what you're focusing on getting better at. And we were talking to a successful entrepreneur, 8-figure entrepreneur recently, and we were talking to him and we said, so what are the traits that you train for as an entrepreneur? Because so many people say, oh, I'm in trustee training, I'm going to get in trustee training, I'm going to be training as a trustee. What do I got to train? We actually have covered this in trustee training many a times before. We'll say it on this episode again because we actually talked to a trustee about this today, and it's something that we work on at the vault. It's something you always have to work on if you feel like it's either a drop ball or something that you want to sharpen your skill. Because what happens is in business, you're training your skills, talents, and abilities. So, what are your skills, talents, and abilities? Do you have the sales skill? Can you sell in business, ladies and gentlemen? When a student is ready to teach their peers, people are going to learn how to sell their business. They're going to learn how to sell their ideas. So many people can't sell their ideas. You learn how to sell your ideas. Selling deals with communication. So we'll just say it's not even just selling. We'll go ahead and overlap selling with communications. A lot of people say they went to school for communications, but they're not a sell. But overall, selling is communications. It's being able to read people. It's being able to convince people. It's being able to persuade people. It is when a student is ready, you understand that you have to learn how to have good, what they call it, sales skills, communication skills. Outside of having great communication skills, it's good leadership skills. How much action are you taking? Think about it. If you start a business, it's you starting a business. No one's going to do anything until you do something. The speed of the group is the speed of the leader. That's the way we were educated at the vault. So that's the way we work with trustees. We share that type of thought process. That the speed of the group is the speed of the leader. If you're the leader of the business, ladies and gentlemen, then that means that you are everything's based off of your time frame to a degree until it can outgrow you. Most people can't say that they have that. So once again, how many people are improving their communication skills? How many people are focused on their leadership skills? Leadership skills, even being able to communicate to your followers and getting them to do the things that you need them to do, to go out there and go to war, to go out there and go get things done, to do things when you're not around and do it at the highest level possible. When a student is ready, the teacher appears. Because the student understands that at one point I gotta be a teacher, or at one point they might even have aspirations to be the teacher. One of the things that one of our favorite mentors say, he would always say, get smart quick. You gotta learn fast, get smart quick. How many people are studying their field of endeavor every day? It says Warren Buffett supposedly said he wakes up and he studies at least 2 to 3 hours reading every day of what's going on in the industry that he's investing or looking to invest in. So are you doing that? Oh man, Trust Christian Vault, I don't think I could do 2 3 hours. I'm a single parent and all this other stuff. Okay, at one point you're gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna block out some time to learn about what I'm saying. I'm looking to actually build my skills and talents in. Because the skills are communication. The skills are how do I communicate to people in this field? How do I communicate to people in this industry? How do I lead people in this industry? How do I get people to do the things I need them to do in this industry? When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen, replay. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listen, or replay. Feel free to type into the chat any questions you may have. Once again, this is just an episode from Trustee Training, Sunday Trustee Training. When a student is ready, a lot of people they say they want to be in Trustee Training or they want to get some training. But ladies and gentlemen, they want someone to do it for them. Many people want them to do it for them. It's estate planning. I'm gonna outsource everything, Trust Christian Vault, and that's why most people lose it in 2 to 3 generations. Why? Because they outsourced it. They didn't in-house it and build within. They let someone, and maybe sometimes, think about it, if it goes down, it's because they had outside management traditionally. Whereas if you have inside management, it's not likely. And even if it was, it's because of bad management. So we encourage you all, stay in student mode. Focused on learning. Focus on learning first. Everybody says they want the money. I want the money, Trust Christian Vault. I want some money, Trust Christian Vault. But I want to build my business, Trust Christian Vault. But at the same time, are you out here focused on learning to earn? Who knows? Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Email, once again, is Christian at trustchristian.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Peace and joy.